So, pick number 144 makes his Browns debut tonight, and this is what he did at Colorado. Was extremely productive for his father, Shedeur Sanders, there in Boulder. And we'll look to continue that efficiency tonight, or tomorrow night, rather, as the Browns battle is about. We'll be right here on NFL Network. Looking forward to that. And look, DJ, again, we kind of heard it, how it all unfolded there on draft night. You remember that. But what do you think we'll see Shedeur Sanders look like here after 2 weeks of camp, now getting into the spotlight?
Well, we had this debate, and everybody had this debate with him, which was production versus traits. And a lot of times the draft is about those traits, those wow physical abilities that you possess. His whole career was about production, and it was performance-based. And we can go back and show you off the video a lot of timing and rhythm. You think about offensive line issues that you might face at the next level. He's seen them here at Colorado for a couple years, constantly under pressure, showing that toughness to be able to hang in there, show a little touch to lay that ball up and drop it in over the shoulder. This is some of the bad things that came along with that pressure. And I think it was because of the constant rush he was facing. You saw some of the drifting, some of the bad sacks there, Buck. But to me, when you watch him in the preseason, a lot of these guys, they'll tell you the most dangerous place to be on planet Earth is behind an offensive line in the first preseason game. That's old hat for him. He's been under pressure, unlike some of these other guys coming out of programs where they're playing with elite guys.
Well, I mean, look, to me, this is about Shedeur Sanders trying to have a Russell Wilson moment. Circa 2012, where Russell Wilson is a third-round pick and goes to Seattle. And then it's undeniable that he eventually beats out Matt Flynn and he put him on the field. When you hear the players talk about Shedeur Sanders, there's a healthy amount of respect. But that respect has to turn into confidence, meaning the coaches have to have confidence in him, being able to execute the plan and do the job. And then the players have to do that. Look, Friday night is an opportunity for him to begin to build some of that, create some of that momentum where it becomes a bit of a conversation about Shedeur Sanders playing and where does he slot in on the depth chart.
It might actually be even more similar to a Dak Prescott moment back in 2016. Yeah. Think of how we're seeing Shedeur here tonight because Kenny Pickett is banged up, because Dillon Gabriel is banged up. Joe Flacco, of course, has seen so much in this league, don't necessarily need to see it, but I think it's a real opportunity for Shedeur Sanders.
In his favor, he's played a lot of football.
Yeah.
He's a rookie, but he has played a lot of ball.
A lot of ball.
That's right. So looking forward to seeing that. It's the Browns and Panthers tomorrow night live versus hosting the Saints. Okay. Browns QB depth chart feels a little bit more collegiate than professional at this point.
We put them all on one page.
In terms of volume, right? And they didn't even list Tyler Huntley, who's a new addition to the mix after Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. Both have been dealing with hamstring injuries. So, yes, a lot of volume there, but it will be a lot of volume for Shedeur Sanders tomorrow night. Getting the start there. Imagine we'll see a lot of Tyler Huntley as well. Don't imagine we'll see too much Joe Flacco there. But, DJ, as you look at this, how do you see the Browns QB room really shaking out as the preseason rolls on here?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I got no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot to juggle. I've had a working theory, and all it is a theory, is that the two rookies going to make the team. You're not going to give up on them no matter what they look like. You want to see what Gabriel is going to be over the course of a full year of working with him in practice. You want to see what Shedeur in the same boat. It felt like Flacco's role as a starter was pretty secure, and that's what left me with Kenny Pickett, where I was trying to figure out how does this Kenny Pickett thing work. And, man, Buck, they praise him so much publicly before he got hurt. To me, my senses were, let's pump him up the first time there's an injury around the NFL. Kenny Pickett gets traded, and there's your problem solved.
I thought it was like a dual competition. Like it was the rookies battling for their spot on the depth chart. And then it was Kenny Pickett versus Joe Flacco. Unfortunately for Kenny Pickett, the injury prevents him really from going toe-to-toe with Joe Flacco. Now there's a bit of a dilemma if you're the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco is 40 years old. And so, look, I know we like to think that a 40-year-old quarterback can last the entire season. But if you have an injury, are you really ready to hand it over to one of those rookies early?
I think
can you keep all four and somehow try and find a way to make it happen? I don't know if you can really trust two rookies to carry this if Joe Flacco gets an injury.
I think that's a really big part of the conversation. Because we've kind of long felt that, look, Dillon Gabriel might have the safest spot in this team. Nobody's giving up on a third-round pick, certainly at quarterback there. And then, what's the gap between Kenny and Joe Flacco? Is it close? And are you comfortable enough with those two rookies, DJ, to really feel like, all right, we can get rid of one of the vets and still feel good if something does happen? There's a lot of variables here. It's been a long time since the team has kept 4 quarterbacks still on an active roster.
Oh, and I'll mess around and go on Tankathon. You're looking at the draft for next year. I mean, the projected way before the season, your Jags book, they have with the 9th pick, and they have the Browns with the 2nd pick. I mean, there's also that looming out into the future. They're going to have 2 potentially top 10 picks to find a quarterback then. So as crowded as it is right now, Rhett, it might get more crowded a year from now.
Sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot of variables here in how this all shakes out. And we didn't even talk about the $200 million elephant in the room, which, of course, is Deshaun Watson, who we don't expect a whole lot from at this point or at all moving forward for the Cleveland Browns. So a lot left to be determined there, and kind of curious to see where that ends up. And you'll get to see every snap. The NFL Network insiders here with us, Tom Pelissero and Mike Garafolo. And Tom, we begin with some bad news for the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's right, Rhett. The Chargers standout left tackle Rashawn Slater, who just a short time ago had signed a new mega contract, made him the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL, is now out for the entire 2025 season. As we reported a short time ago, and as the team has now confirmed, Slater suffered a torn patellar tendon in his left leg in practice today. He will undergo surgery and head to injured reserve. Mike, for a Chargers team that, as Jim Harbaugh makes clear all the time, runs through number 10 right there, Justin Herbert, losing his blindside protector has a pretty significant impact.
It's brutal, and there's no replacing Rashawn Slater, and that's why he got the contract that he got. But now they're going to have to find a way to try to replace him. And 76 that you see out there, Joe Alt on the right side, moving him to the left side, got to at least be a consideration for the Chargers on this one. They did like the fact that they had depth on the offensive line, so they could maybe draw upon that. Mekhi Becton has been out recently. Now, you remember, he was a former tackle. He resurrected his career as a guard with the Eagles, and that's how he was signed as the Chargers. But desperate times call for desperate measures. Could potentially see him as an option at tackle as well. Chargers going to have to figure this all out now.
In other news, the Cowboys standoff with their standout pass rusher, Micah Parsons, continues. Parsons not spotted at practice today. My understanding is don't read anything into that. He is still in training camp with the team, but has not participated in the aftermath of a recent trade request and, of course, contract talks. Now, from what I am told, not only have the Cowboys still not made a formal written offer to Micah Parsons, there still has not even been a conversation with Parsons' agent, David Mulugeta, in terms of the type of extension that Jerry Jones and Team Brass continue to say that they want. Mulugeta has negotiated over $1 billion of contracts in the past year, Mike. He's not a difficult guy to get a hold of, but to the extent that the Cowboys continue to brush this off, the fans should sleep well without Micah Parsons. Well, Parsons is still asking for a trade, and there is no progress at this point on a new deal.
Yeah, I'm going to call him right now. See if he picks up. Hello, David. Yeah, I got to go. I'm on TV. See, it was that easy. That's how you can get it done. Micah Parsons today not at practice. Someone said he might be rehabbing his back. You know how you can heal that back? Inject it with some money. That'll heal it real quickly. You're right, Tom. There has not been communication. And that's one of the things that's really perturbing Micah Parsons. It's not even just the lack of the deal being done. It's the lack of communication. At some point, you got to start talking again. But, Jerry, when you do, call David. You need his number? It's 9... Never mind. Just text me.
All right, guys. Appreciate that. Very insightful there with the conversations that Mike's been having, as it sounds like. When we come back here, again, we'll get a big look at the quarterback competition in Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson gets the start. Daniel Jones will get the start in week 2. But we'll see how all that looks when we come back.
Say it straight to your face.